You're listening to the AI Moment with me, Jonathan Wagstaff.
And me, Danny Denhard.
And today, Dan, I think we've said we're going to talk about why AEO, in other words, AI search, for want of a better expression, is a completely different channel to SEO, and it's a completely new channel and has to be considered that way. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, exactly. Jonathan and I's background are very much from marketing and sales and product and marketing. So the conversations I'm having, I'm seeing a lot. Most people have probably seen in their LinkedIn feed, a load of things about AI, AEO, GEO, all the different acronyms that are coming out for AI search. And something that Jonathan and I wanted to tackle was why SEO, and we're going to call it AEO today, why they are fundamentally different channels and new approaches to something that you can't just squeeze together. And we touched upon it in a previous pod with Jeff Gibbons, but Jonathan and I wanted to tackle this head on because it is new. People are being a little bit misled, and it's complicated for a lot of marketing and business leaders to tackle. So we're going to dive into that one today.
The summary, Dan, is let me try and summarize this, and then maybe we'll expand it from there. Traditional search engines and AI answer engines are absolutely not the same thing and can be regarded as completely different channels in that respect. So SEO old style is about getting somebody to click your link on a search page, SERP page. And there's still plenty of that going on. Let's not pretend that's completely stopped. Lots of people are still using things like Google to do a traditional search. The nature of the beast is changing, but there's plenty of SEO still going on. But AEO is about being the answer, and it's more about if somebody puts a question or types a prompt into an AI tool, then what gets thrown up as the potential answer, what gets recommended, etc. And that changes what kind of content wins, how we measure success, and how brands have got to think about how they make themselves visible. So that's the kind of challenge in front of us. Do you want to give us some thoughts around how we might address that?
Yeah, sure. So for me, AEO is a dedicated channel because it's a fundamental shift from landing pages with keywords associated to it and SEO rankings. So from 1 to 7 or 1 to 10, depending on the SERP, so the search engine results page. And the AEO and AI search it is now citations. So it's how many problems or answers that you can place up in blocks of content without generating traffic or very low amounts of traffic. That is a fundamental difference and shift from the original SEO model. And although it's in a search box, as it were, in brackets, it isn't the same behavior. People are searching very different ways. So a prompt might be, a whole paragraph, whereas an SEO search on Google might be, 4 or 5 keywords that are thrown together because that's how Google used to work. So AEO for most people is about answering a huge number of questions and matching them to certain sets of prompts. This is new, this is different. So although fundamentally you are matching things together, the way that the answers are going to be displayed and the way that you're going to be answering questions will be different. And so many people have to change the way that they think about content, and they also have to think about the way that they display content as well. So if we were to think around it, SEO is very much, there's a playbook that most people follow. With AEO, they like blocks of content, they like markdown pages, they like to consume a lot of information to provide the best answer. So it is different, and there's areas that we can dive into. So should we go into authority, Jonathan? Because I think it's something that people don't necessarily think of.
No, I agree. I mean, I think for me, there's a load of stuff around in the space of authority. It's the mind shift from how do I rank to how do I become the clearest, most credible answer to the question. And so when we think about authority, Dan, one of the things that's become clear from a number of conversations we've had with other people is that in the old world of SEO, your website was maybe 45 or 50% of your authority was your website and the way that was set up. In the new world, one of the things the AI tools are looking for are lots of different sources that cite you. So your website might be a quarter of your credibility, but then it's where are you on YouTube? Where are you on social media? Where else can I see you being cited? A lot of people talk about Reddit being very important because it's looking at Reddit a lot. May or may not be true. But I think part of the authority is around you being in lots of places talking about the thing it is that you want to be known for. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, exactly. And from if we were to think about it, if you were to apply logic to it, which is often the best way, is you if you're a brand or a company, you're going to have reviews based on your services and your products. So that's one of the things that LLMs are known to go out and look at. They're then going to go on comparison sites because you're going to appear on them, so they can get a full picture on you and how to refer you. As you said, Reddit is a reference point that AI tools are using a lot, and obviously calling the corpus and using it, whether they're paying for it or not, that's up to them. And then there's LinkedIn and other forums. So LinkedIn was found to be the most cited for now, and that's obviously something that has an identity connected to it, an authority, and then they can pull those out as well. It's a lot less than internal links, external links, page titles and meta descriptions. It's very much a who is the authority, how can you shape it, how can you appear to be known as the brand and the authority within that space, to be cited a number of different times and be referred to and referred as the authority in that space. And something just to remember is your people will constantly consider and constantly question what authority means to them. And what you need to do is think of around all the different places that you can be seen as an authority and how and where that might be. So LinkedIn and Reddit are great because it has threads and people can, and then LLMs can understand the context behind it. Whereas search doesn't necessarily take that into account. It tried and it failed a number of years ago. So there are these like really nuanced views that you can apply, really apply common sense to, that really makes you understand how to appear in that sort of space and do that. And something that Google have said more recently is that their AI overviews, the AI snippet that comes up at the top, and Gemini are different, and they're going to be treated as different things. So you're almost having to build for two different Google tools and loads of different LLMs. So if Google is saying that, you can take that as something that other companies and other LLMs are going to be using, and to be very different. So just keep that in mind and really consider how you can get more reviews, you can show more trust signals on site, and how you can be referred to and seen as a brand across the web.
I think also you bring a good point up there, Dan, in that not only are you trying to talk to old style SEO and new style AI, but as we discussed with Jeff, you've almost got to develop your website for humans and for machines. So you need content that as we discussed with Jeff, if you've got content on there that the AI can't access or read, that content's not there as far as the AI is concerned. So you need content that both humans can read and the machines can interpret. And so you're really talking about very clear, direct answers to questions, very clear explanations of the things you were trying to explain, clean structure, demonstrate your expertise, demonstrate your trustworthiness. It's kind of the kind of things that need to be happening with the content. But what that allows for those who are listening, who are running smaller businesses, that there might be a point where you're thinking, well, God, unless you're the size of Unilever or somebody, you're never going to do all this. But actually, if you're in the right niche, you can do a lot of that stuff quite effectively. And it almost allows, if you've got a particular niche or particular strength, you can really dominate that niche and those questions for what it is you do. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's certainly possible. And so you can compete with the bigger players just by doing this stuff in a clever way. Done. What are the sorts of things that marketers should be tracking then, in the way that we would have tracked, click-throughs and all conversion rates and all those things we were tracking? And I'm asking because I don't know the answer to this question. What are the sorts that, I know there's some stuff about brand awareness and things, but what are have you got any thoughts on absolute metrics we should be tracking?
A good question. That's something that everyone is juggling with. So my recommendations will be, you need to check, obviously, your analytics package to see what's being referred to you from a traffic perspective, just to give you a core suggestion on where people are coming from. I don't think that visibility metrics are great for now because they're very misleading, and they use the old style way of SEO tracking. So they do it based on keywords and variation keywords to come up. That's not the worst way of doing it. For now, it's still very much a bit of a black box, as in what you can do. If we were to give ourselves 5 challenges and show our 5 prompts for those challenges, they'd be so different.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, actually. If you and I put the same prompt in, we'll get different answers.
Exactly.
You know, the same, you both using the same prompt with the same AI tool will get different answers. And then from model to model is, you know, GPT 5.2 says something, yes, 5.4 the same question, get completely different answers. So it's tricky.
I would say that keep an eye on your direct traffic, because people will be coming directly to you from the web. So that will most likely will go up based on if you're appearing in more LLM results. And then just keep an eye on how people are coming and where they're landing to you. A lot of more traffic will probably come towards the homepage, which would be a core signal, or they'll be going to very specific pages, which will probably be different to the SEO landing pages that you've traditionally set up, or product pages. So there are different ways to have a look, but that would be my top recommendation. I'm sure in a few weeks' time we'll be able to come up with like a little checklist for people to go through. But right now there isn't a standard way of doing it, and there isn't a tool that people are really backing to say that they're doing a great job in that.
And I think one of the challenges is that the things that are becoming important increasingly are things like trust and, you know, how well educated is your buyer. And of course, they're very difficult to measure in any realistic way. And I agree with the point you just made, which is, I guess, a health warning we should give to everyone listening is, you know, this stuff is evolving very, very quickly indeed. And so if we were to repeat this exercise in 2 months' time, there might be a lot of very different things to talk about. It's a really rapidly evolving area. And you know, there are some guidelines and some ideas and some best practices that we can see at the moment, but they are evolving very quickly. And I think anybody who says, that's it, I've got the definitive answer, is probably misled at the moment. They're probably misguided if they're thinking they've cracked it, because it's a moving target.
I agree.
Good to see you, my friend, and I will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening today, everyone. If you liked what you heard, please give us a rating and review in any of the podcast players. We have a supporting newsletter, which is aimoment.co.uk, that comes out on Mondays and Fridays with every pod, and we dive a little bit deeper. So please subscribe there. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.